If you were watching Carl Froch and George Groves go at it live on Fight Network over the weekend, you probably had the feeling around the 8th or 9th round that you were witnessing a classic, an all-time great UK war with high drama heading down the stretch. Moments later, you got an all-time bad stoppage instead. After an eye-opening performance for 8 rounds, including a hard knockdown in the first, George Groves finally ran into some turbulence, with a charging Carl Froch starting to open up and starting to get to him in spurts along the ropes. Froch hurt Groves for the first time, had him unsteady and taking flush shots, but still throwing back with hard left hooks. Now that part didn't matter to referee Howard Foster, who seemed to want the night to end right there. Now, there's no disputing that Groves was in serious trouble. His head snapped back on a pair of hard shots, and he seemed to have less energy at that point in the fight than Froch did. But at the moment Foster stepped in, Groves had escaped off the ropes and was competently moving away. You could certainly argue that Froch was in more danger than Groves was when he was floored in the first round, and the fight was obviously allowed to continue. The fans were robbed of what could have been a Fight of the Year contender. More importantly, George Groves was robbed of a potential world title in a monumental upset. For that matter, Froch too was robbed of the credit he deserves for wrestling control of the fight back after a horrible start. Now, the boxing climate right now is such that added caution is clamored for by the fans, with the tragedies of Magomed Abdusalamov, Frankie Leal, and Jose Carmona all in the past month. But despite that, there is still outrage about this stoppage, which is the true indicator of how bad it really was. What's worse is that Groves may have been on his way to getting robbed anyways. Froch was inexplicably only down a point on the scorecards at the time of the stoppage. If you want to play conspiracy theorist, you can also raise an eyebrow at Foster liking a comment on his Facebook page prior to the fight predicting a Froch stoppage in the 9th round. Now, this stoppage was eerily similar to another Foster mishap from a few years back, when he waved off the Tom Doran-Max Maxwell fight on Eurosport absurdly early. Take a look at this and tell me if it looks familiar to you. Now, that fight was just a domestic welterweight title eliminator. No pressure, and Foster still panicked. Froch Groves was for the unified world title. George Groves deserves another chance at Froch, and the fans deserve to see that rematch. As for Howard Foster, he's screwed it up before, and as we've seen, he's bound to do it again.